I was scared that I was going to one day wake up to this man in my apartment. Let me explain where this all started. So one day I was sitting outside of my apartment in my car, just scrolling on my phone, and this car pulled up right to the back of my car with its headlights on. They were blinding me because it was dark. I couldn't tell who was in the car. I just stayed frozen and I was looking in the mirror. I really could not see. Like, they just started laying on the horn like beep, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I was scared. And then the car drove off. I run into my apartment. A little bit later, I look on the Ring camera. That same car, it was a white Prius, parked in front of my door. There was a man standing just outside of his car, not really doing much. He kind of was just standing by his car for a while, just lingering. I could be speculating, I don't know, but it spooked me. I feel like in that moment, my gut told me something weird was going on. So then the next day, I had went to the gym with a friend and we were leaving. I was gonna go into work. She was walking out with me. We were gonna go our separate ways. I noticed the man in the street. Instantly, I don't know why, I just pretended to be on the phone. He started yelling my name. It wasn't like, oh, hey, Nelly. No, it was like, Nelly, Nelly, that's your name, right? You want to ignore me? Like, he was just really mad and aggressive for no reason. Clearly, you see me on the phone and you're screaming my name. And I told him to come with me to my car, like, I'm scared. I'm going to tell your managers that you're ignoring me. I realized at that moment that it was a Uber Eats driver from my job at the time. I went into work and I told my manager. I just felt really paranoid. She was like, oh, ha ha ha. There's been a lot of weirdos these days. Okay, whatever, you know, maybe I'm just being like overly paranoid. He had never came in to eat at my job to my knowledge, or ever during my shift. I had only seen him come in to pick up Uber Eats orders. And so I did not know this man, and for him to be approaching me in that way, you see me on the phone, you see me walking out with a friend. I realized he had moved in to the building next door to me, which was like right there. And I would notice that even when there was parking available in front of his apartment, he would park in front of mine. Again, I could be speculating. I don't know. I was scared. I lived by myself. You never know someone's intentions. You never know what someone is capable of. This man knew when I worked, where I lived. When I had told my family member about it, I remember she was asking me, did you ever go on a date with this man? Did you ever give him your phone number? I'm like, no, I don't know this man. Like, I've given him orders at my job. I had one conversation with him, like not even a conversation, just, oh, has it been a busy night? I don't remember what he said. Yes, no, whatever. Okay, have a good night. Like, that is the only conversation we ever had. And he was acting like a crazy ex-boyfriend. There was this one manager who had found it hilarious that that guy spooked me out. We would see the guy coming in or parking, and there's my manager. Oh, look, your boyfriend's coming in. Ha ha ha. And I would go in the side station and wait until he was gone. That's how bad of a feeling I got. I never had that feeling with anyone else that ever came into the restaurant in all 4 years. I was living by myself. I wasn't in the best area. And so I started being overly aware. Once I started to really pay attention to my surroundings, especially late at night when I would leave my job around 1, 2 in the morning, I realized that this man was following me home. I don't know if it was to try and get home at the same time as me. I really don't know why. Maybe it was a coincidence. I really don't think it was. It would just lead to me taking a bunch of left and right turns to lose the car. What else do you do in that situation? And eventually I would lose him, but it happened a few times. Even though we lived in the same apartment, so I don't know why he was following me. He would be waiting out nearby in the parking lot, pull out at the same time as me, and go the same direction for 15 minutes. Like, I get that he lived in the same apartments, but it really didn't seem coincidental. And this man was like in his 40s, to give y'all a little bit of context. I would be looking at my Ring camera to make sure he wasn't standing outside in the street in front of my apartment, because he would just linger there. He would, I don't know, maybe he was just getting some sunlight and standing in the parking lot. Maybe I'm just jumping to conclusions. I don't know what he was doing, but he would just stand outside. I don't know. Another time I was walking outside of my apartment and he's like, hey, bitch, Bitch, you can't hear me? Who you calling bitch? I literally switched my shift from night to day because I did not feel safe coming home late anymore. Then he started coming in the mornings. And my coworkers that worked those days said that they had never seen him come in before up until that point. So I would hide. Okay, he's parking. I'm gonna go hide in the side station because it was just this ugly feeling that I would get anytime that I seen him. I felt uncomfortable in my home. I could barely sleep. I felt uncomfortable at work. And on this day, he had actually called my coworker over while he was standing at the front door and told her that I was upset at him because he coincidentally moved in next to me. I hadn't said a thing to him. I had ignored him. Even when he called me a bitch, even when he said he's gonna tell my managers, blah, blah, blah. Then my coworker tells me this. I'm so fucking fed up with this. I told him, you need to stop following me and you need to stop coming into my job and you need to stop harassing me outside of my apartment. And he did not like that. He did not like it one bit. He immediately looked at me and was like, shut the fuck up. And he screamed in front of the whole restaurant. And he was like, I'm going to call the cops on you. And then he stormed out of the restaurant with his order, mind you. And then I was so fed up with it. And I went into the office where a manager was. My manager was drunk, mind you. Sorry. And I was like, you need to ban him. Like, I'm so fucking tired of this shit. I was like, you need to ban him. So then my manager's like, what? Like, finally, I felt for the first time since I was so upset, I was being taken seriously. The Uber Eats guy stormed back in and tried to go into the side station where employees are only allowed. And they told him, like, you can't be over here. Then my manager told him he's banned. Then they were outside talking for a while. But all I know is that when my manager came back inside, he completely treated me like I'm crazy and like I was over exaggerating and making up things. So I don't know what Uber Eats guy told my manager, but my manager didn't believe me anymore. Which is crazy, right? Literally fucking stalked and harassed. I was scared that I was going to one day wake up to this man in my apartment or something because I had this big window at the time next to my door that it wouldn't be hard for someone to break in. So I decided I needed to break my lease and look for somewhere else to live. And they told me that I couldn't break my lease without it like affecting me unless I went to the cops. And I was honestly so scared to go to the cops because maybe they would feel that I'm being too paranoid or too anxious or, you know. And so, yeah, so then I tell the cops, I tell them everything that's been going on. They said that they were going to give the guy a warning. He had mentioned calling the guy or showing up to his apartment if they needed to. But they told me that they weren't able to tell me much information, but what they did tell me was that they weren't able to access his number. They said that he jumps around. I don't know if that meant like he moves from place to place or he changes his number all the time. I don't know, but the cops could not find his number. So they said they couldn't call him. But pretty much what I was told was that until something happens to me physically, that there's nothing that they can do. But that freaked me the fuck out, y'all. It did. It freaked me the fuck out. So I had to get a little something for my protection, and I was sleeping with it next to me. So yeah, I literally moved out overnight. I brought that police report, showed it to my apartments, and at the same time that this was going on, my AC was fucking up, my water was out of service on and off. I took that as a sign, you know, it could just been it's summer and things are fucking up. You know, it's not uncommon for people's ACs to go out in the summer, but the AC, the water, and the electricity, and a man stalking me all at the same time, I was like, fuck this shit. I am fucking moving far from here. I'm moving across town. And I did. After that day, I never saw him again. Every time I see a white Prius, though, I get scared. I do. I get scared that it's gonna be him. That was my story time. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts, or if you've ever been through something similar. I just, honestly, it was a life lesson. Now I always pay attention to my surroundings. There have been times where I'll get paranoid. I'm like, oh my god, am I being followed? Maybe it's because of the situation, because I wasn't like that before that situation, but since that has happened, if I've noticed a car go in the same direction, I'll start taking lefts and rights just to be safe, because it was just a scary situation to be going through. Thank you for watching, and make sure to turn on post notifications so you don't miss out on the next video.